Nothing.
And welcome back to the channel. Before you go any further, consider subscribing. So, got the Pro Charge Corvette turbocharged V-Rod. You don't see one of those every day. KLX 110, motor 43 big bore, Yamaha TTR 50, China 50cc four-wheeler that's leaking oil. It's worth every penny you pay, which is not very many pennies at all. Mini Jeep, us, him, that, and or they. Today's a review. SSR Pitbike 70cc 4-speed. I'm not sure what year they started the 4-speed because I've seen a lot of SSR 3-speeds on YouTube. Even guys quoting that they had the 4-speed end up writing it and find out they don't have the 4-speed, they only have the 3-speed. 4-speed, a lot of MPH. Like, this thing goes way faster than a kid would need to go. I swear this thing will do about 50 miles an hour. I'll give you a little clip real quick of the first through third I did showing how high this thing revs out from the last video I did, just breaking the SSR into the YouTube channel itself. I'd probably give it 3 out of 5 stars. There's a few things I find kind of wonky about it, like you can't adjust the throttle slack. If you can loosen this up, but it does not adjust the amount of slack, which gets kind of annoying. And if you go all the way in like that, this thing's got a pretty decent amount of slack, and this doesn't seem to help at all. And this whole unit, even though there's like a nut here, is part of this unit, so it just unscrews it out. It doesn't really change the amount of slack. Not a big fan there. And this thing has a pretty long wrap out for the throttle itself, which the TTR has less of a wrap out, which I kind of like, because it just gives you more with less travel of the throttle grip. I mean, it's spiffy. That's kind of cool. The coilover is adjustable. You've got these little adjustable plates up here to where you can stiffen or loosen your shock, which is kind of cool because it's kind of stiff right now. I'd loosen it up. Right now, all of that could be softer suspension adjustment, but I'm not going to get into that because I don't think we plan on keeping this bike. Brake works good. One thing I really hate about it is shifting. Shifting is very, very hard. Even for a guy my age, it is very hard to shift this thing up and down. Down's not hard, but to shift it up is kind of a total nightmare. It is way harder to shift that than it is my KLX's TTR 50 or even my V-Rod or the Mini Jeep. But the Mini Jeep's a hand shifter, so that doesn't really count. But you can get like dual shift levers that would probably solve that. But it's kind of annoying how you would have to do that because this transmission is so hard. Like, literally, I just pulled up on it pretty hard and it's not upshifting. You can down or upshift it, but downshifting takes quite a bit of strength, which I knew he wouldn't be able to do anytime soon. He'd have to build up the leg strength. I hate that it's 4 down. So first, second, third, fourth, and then to go back up to neutral and down gear, you have to shift upwards. I don't know if that's because of patents on bigger brand bikes that make a lot more money, who make it harder for people with like a China bike to have the luxury of an ideal shift pattern. So I don't like that you have to shift up to go up a gear versus down to go down a gear like the name brand bikes are. Really haven't figured out the idle on this thing. You kind of have to rev it up. It doesn't like to use the choke at all in any leverage, like midway all the way. It doesn't like to use the choke and just idle on its own to warm up. You kind of have to rev it and wake it up. I don't think it needs the carburetor cleaned, because it'd be weird to think that the carburetor needs cleaning just to make it idle better versus it'll go wide open no problem, doesn't have issues there. So I really haven't figured out that. I've played with the air screw, I've played with the idle screw, but the idle, just starting the bike up and going inside for a cup of coffee and then coming back out and being ready is just far-fetched, unfortunately. The brake line, I don't know if this bracket or this bar is supposed to be on the other side of the bleeder valve, which would make it harder to bleed anyway, but because that is, this brake line got rubbed by the tire, and now the brake line is KO'd and does not work. I think that's stupid. I also think it's kind of stupid the brake line comes down and wraps around the fork, all like ridiculous looking, and then comes down and does that thing. So it doesn't have a front brake right now because of that nonsense, which is kind of stupid and kind of reckless. Not a big fan of that either. Spiffy bike though, you know, clean stickers, overall clean bike for a 2016. Engine's clean, no leaks, nothing crazy. When I did get it, it was leaking from the bottom, which the guy lied about, obviously, because people suck on Facebook Marketplace and they'll sell anything just to get their money back or money in general. So I had to take the stator cover off, which is like a rotating bell cap thing that sends electricity to the spark plug and other things that need power. And I had to take the stator case out, and I had to glue the seal back into the stator cover itself because it just came loose and it wouldn't like push in and stay in. It would just kind of fall out. And when we pulled the stator casing out, the seal was just chilling on the crankshaft. So we gasket glued that in. No leaks there, so that's kind of cool. Bryson's back there freaking out. Seems to be a pretty common problem. There's one guy on YouTube who had the video of doing it. He just popped these 3 bolts out. This comes off, then you got to break the bolt off, which you got to kind of like lock the stator cover in place if you don't have all these elaborate tools, which would cost you like $30 for all of them, but you may only use it once, so I'm not going to buy it. I managed to get mine off with an impact, and then the screws were the hardest to get out. I had to use an impact screwdriver because they were pretty much impossible to get out, and they were aluminum because whoever makes these bikes is excessively cheap, and aluminum hardware around the engine area is just kind of stupid. For these kind of bolts, it's okay. They're 6-point heads, but for a screw that's underneath this that's made of aluminum, it's just a dumb material to use, in my opinion. It will only send you back to the shop if you go headstrong into it and strip the screws out. It could cost you a lot of money in repairs, and it can get very annoying very fast. Clean intake, I like that. It runs good, but the idle could be better. That situation could be dialed in. It might need just a carburetor cleaning, and then that will solve that. But I haven't got into it yet. I will drop a video of me going down the street with it so you can see how it rides. Brake rotor's kind of cool. I mean, it's got brake rotors, unlike the TTR. It's got drum brakes, and even my Kawasaki's got drum brakes. So if you're a dirt biker and you prefer drums over disc brakes on a bike, let me know. That'd be interesting to know because I'm used to race cars and stuff. So having disc brakes on the dirt bike seems ideally cool, but maybe it's not really preferred amongst a dirt bike community that's like a diehard dirt biker just because of the simplicity of drums over discs. I don't know. But I do know this one's got discs and those have drums. Might be another patent scenario. I'm not sure. It would seem cheaper to do drums in my opinion, even though I'm not a mechanic by any means, but I fix all my own stuff. No electrical issues from brakes right here. Kill switches right there. Everything works as it should. It's easy to kick over, which is about the only thing it's easy to do with. My son, even though he had a China dirt bike to start out with, which we did a review on it, you can see that on the channel, was just a piece of garbage, but he rode that one no problem. He rode it like a bat out of hell. And then this bike, he just kind of seemed fidgety on, like it was intimidating to him. He didn't have a lot of time to get used to it. But I know he could, because I let him ride the green dirt bike for the first time yesterday at his grandma's house. He's got a lot more land to ride around, and now he won't leave me alone about the green dirt bike. So I know he could have gotten used to it, but I got him the TTR because it's electric start. So yeah, I think this one's scheduled to sail tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. Other than that, I don't want to do run-on video forever, so you know, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe for us. It doesn't cost anything. You may not even want to watch my future videos, not knowing what I do, but it does help people like us getting out there. We will see you next time. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Toodaloo.